What is up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Danny Show. I'm your host, Danny Cody, and this is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you guys for the amazing amount of views I got on this video where I brought breaking news in a funny short about CM Punk being fired. Yes, shocking news, but Punk is fired. Thank you guys for watching that short. I thought that was very funny, and I really appreciate it. But now, also before I get started with my review on last night's pay-per-view Payback, a couple of quick announcements. First off, be sure to check out my community posts where I'll be posting things there also. And also, I'm going to start this new thing from time to time where I do this little short where I ask you, the fans, to decide WrestleMania or SummerSlam when I pick out arenas or stadiums from current cities that WWE will be in. Like, for example, last night WWE was in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is home to the Steelers. If you go to their stadium, I would ask the Steelers Stadium, I forgot what it was called, but in the Steelers Stadium in Pittsburgh, do you see that as WrestleMania? Or do you see it as a SummerSlam? Me personally, I see the stadium in Pittsburgh for the Steelers as SummerSlam. But let's get started today with my review of Payback from last night. Pretty good event. We opened up really amazingly with the steel cage match between Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch inside a steel cage, where we saw the Matrix. You've heard of the Matrix? I call this the Matrix, where Trish does that acrobatic move where she bends back to avoid clotheslines and all, but Becky Lynch took that out. We also saw Victoria Homage as Trish Stratus would use the Widow's Peak, while Becky Lynch would use Lita's Twist of Fate. We saw a superplex from the cage. We saw interference from Zoe Stark, who is not related to Iron Man, by the way. And despite all of that, Becky Lynch was able to come out victorious. Unfortunately for Trish Stratus, her troubles only doubled as she got into it with Zoe Stark, and Zoe Stark attacked her and left her in the cage. On an exclusive video from after the match, there was an emotional segment where Trish was left with an ovation and something she has been asking for the whole time, which was simply a thank you, Trish. Becky Lynch would be asked what's next, and she would encounter WWE or NXT's Barbie Brat, as I like to call her, NXT's Brat from named, what's her name? Tiffany Stratton, who, by the way, got no reaction when she had a cameo in the audience. We saw Cenaberg. Somebody had a Cenaberg sign, which I thought was very clever. And during that time, Cena came to the ring as he is hosting Money in the Bank, had a real funny segment with The Miz. And then, first off, The Miz comparing John Cena to the Teletubbies was hilarious. But in any event, after that, it was announced John Cena would be the special guest referee. LA Knight versus The Miz would happen. And John Cena wasted no time putting both guys in check, showing no favoritism. It got real tense with LA Knight and Cena, however. Despite all of that, we had a very good match with The Miz and LA Knight. In the end, LA Knight would get the victory and a sign of respect from John Cena. Although it seemed for a second that LA Knight was a little reluctant to shake Cena's hand. Thankfully, they did. We had Austin Theory versus 619. And notice that Rey Mysterio was wearing the outfit that he wore when Simp 19 was born. Simp 19 Dom. On this channel, for those of you who are new, because he is a villain, I call him Simp 19 Dom because he turned on his father over a woman. So keep Simp19 in mind. I'll mention him later. But nonetheless, tonight we saw Rey Mysterio retain the WWE US Championship against Austin Theory and would celebrate with the LWO. What does PWO stand for? Someone tell me. We got KO Zania versus Judgment Day. And what's so funny is Corey Graves usually sucks up to the heels. And much like when you think of commentary, when you think of commentary, you think of Gorilla Mons. No, that was Jesse Ventura. Would praise the heels of the late 80s. And you had Jerry Lawler, who would praise the heels of the late 90s and early 2000 of the mid 90s and early 2000s. And then for 5 minutes, Michael Cole was a suck up for the Miz, for those of you who forgot. But Corey Graves is one of those who praises the heel wrestlers. But that was not the case when Finn Balor disrespected that yellow t shirt, home of Pittsburgh. And Corey Graves, fun fact, is from Pittsburgh. So tonight, that made Corey mad. We saw KO Zania, as I like to call them, pay homage to Pittsburgh's hockey team. And if I may say, this match is a better tribute match than the one that was supposed to be for Terry Funk, because that was really PG and almost, as The Undertaker said on Joe Rogan, a little soft. But that's the thing about it being PG. But tonight wasn't that soft. And thankfully, the good thing about watching this match is that there's no head censorship, which is one of the things that's soft about WWE, is all these head censorships. Now, I would like to see people get hit in the head uncensored. However, it was uncensored with the trash cans tonight. We saw Kevin Owens bleed. We saw Rhea Ripley, who had a very busy night last night, spear Kevin Owens through the barricade while JD McDonough got involved. And this is all during the time JD McDonough, by the way, is part of the reason that Judgment Day was having their problems. Nonetheless, I am sure that JD McDonough will be the next member of the Judgment Day. And thanks to him, thanks to Simp19 Dom and Rhea Ripley, Judgment Day, as some people may expect, are the new tag team champions, which means we'll be seeing them on SmackDown as well. While I don't review Raw because I do not have cable, I only have Roku apps, I do see SmackDown in full, so I will be expecting to see Judgment Day make a lot of more appearances on SmackDown. We had Grayson Waller to host Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes had a blockbuster announcement of Jey Uso being a member of Raw. This is crazy because a couple of weeks ago, Jey Uso quit. Now he's back. The right Uso is back, according to John Cena. But they're on Raw. And rumor has it that they're going to build Jimmy and Jay up to have a fight at WrestleMania. I don't know. We have to see what happens. But it's probably going to build up that way. We had Rhea versus Raquel. Rhea paying homage to China with her attire. God rest China's souls. Man, we've lost a lot of wrestlers lately. Jeez. But with that being said, we had a match. We saw Raquel brush off the shoulder tackle attempt, which did not work. She bulldozed Rhea for a little bit. And the look on Rhea's face as she sold that powerbomb to the turnbuckle post, the way her eyes looked and the way she looked like she was almost frozen was hilarious. Now, that happened. Of course, Simp19 interfered and got power slammed by Raquel, which is homage to her boyfriend Braun Strowman. And as we know, not only is Lockhold Dom Simp19, but obviously the guy likes being beat up by women. It's one of his weird fetishes he has. Simp19 likes being beat up by women. In fact, when he was getting whooped by Rey Mysterio with the belt for being a naughty kid, I bet he was visualizing Rhea doing it. But in any event, thanks to that, Rhea wins the match. And of course, both Raquel and Rhea are known for using that strange pinfall, and Rhea used it tonight. In our main event tonight, we had Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a match that was built on issues involving Seth Rollins' back. And it didn't take long for Seth Rollins' back to be the target of this night. In fact, if you pay attention, there was a segment where he was supposed to do the superplex followed by the Falcon Arrow. He thought better of it and decided it was best to do the Hurricanrana. Before I get started, let me just say this because I'm moving along pretty fast, but I didn't get to say this. I really appreciate what was said about from Becky Lynch to Seth Rollins. I really appreciate the tribute and the respect that they have paid and the love that they have shown towards Bray Wyatt. We saw Becky Lynch very emotional this past Monday as she used the armband. We saw Seth Rollins side plate with the Fiend, which I thought was awesome. I really appreciate Raw's power couple, and in my opinion, Becky Lynch and Seth are Raw's true power couple, and I love how they paid homage to Bray Wyatt. God rest his soul. Now back to business at hand. I just really needed to say that. Seth used the Hurricanrana. We saw him use splashes. We saw him overcome a lot of attacks on the back. We even saw him overcome the Kinshasa. But excuse me if I can't pronounce that properly. But nonetheless, it took a curve stomp to keep Shinsuke down. And Seth is still world champion. And Seth is still one of my favorites of Raw right now, especially with that awesome theme he has. But it was said that Shinsuke made an off-air, off-camera attack on Seth Rollins. So what are they going to do about that tomorrow on Raw? I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and that's all the time I have for you today. And I'll be back with another review on all things wrestling. Peace out. God bless.